Welcome back to the Kian and Prez Show, and we're happy to have you back. And this is our picks weekly episode. If you watched our last episode last week and reviewed my picks, you'd see there was a horrible mistake by me in most of my games. I had a horrible week of picking. Kian did great. I did not. It was very unfortunate. So this week I'm looking to bounce back. And again, our format is we're going to go 5 games we're going to go deep into, and then we'll do some quick hits. But either way, this is how we see week 4 playing out. Let's start with the Thursday night game. Cowboys going to New York Giants. Dallas Cowboys are a mess. They can't run the football. They can't stop the run. With all that said, I really want to take the Giants in this game. But then I remember that they have Daniel Jones, and they only have beaten a horrible Browns team this year, so I really shouldn't trust them. So just based on talent alone and nothing else, not on coaching, not on aggressiveness or will to or anything like that, I'm taking the Cowboys very, very reluctantly. Who you got, Ken?
Yeah, I think this could be another Cowboys blowout over the Giants. I think if their defense can play well, if they can stop Malik Nix, who had an amazing game last week, because I think he might be the only thing that can hold this Giants offense together.
I would double team him, honestly.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to double team him now. He's that good. It may be silly to double team a rookie, but double team him.
Yeah,
or double cover him, I mean.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys will be able to stop the Giants, and I think maybe they can get some pressure, and Daniel Jones might make some mistakes, and the Cowboys should hopefully be able to capitalize and score a lot. But I mean, the Cowboys haven't been amazing, but I think they should take this one.
Next up, I think this is probably the game of the week in my mind. It is Minnesota Vikings against the Green Bay Packers. We don't know for sure yet if Jordan Love is playing this week, but Malik Willis played great last week in his revenge game against the Titans. And Matt LaFleur has just, gotten them through this 2-game rough stretch with road wins, not road wins, home win against the Colts, road win against the Titans without Jordan Love. Vikings, Brian Flores is got to be coordinator of the year. The defense held Houston back, it held San Francisco back. And Sam Darnold is playing really well, even though he got a banged up knee. So with that said, if Jordan Love does play, he's not going to be 100%. And I think the Vikings are the harder team. I think they're the healthier team. I think their defense is playing at a better level. So I have the Vikings going and beating the Packers in Green Bay.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a big test for the Vikings to see if they're really, I guess, a contender in the NFC North and in the NFC. And I think they can win this game. I think their offense should play well. The Packers' defense has been good so far, but if Vikings can score, I think their defense will be able to play well against the Packers. They can pressure Malik Willis or Jordan Love. I think that might force them to maybe miss a few throws or make some mistakes. Even though I think the Vikings don't have amazing corners, they are pretty good overall in the secondary. So I think the Vikings defense will let them outscore the Packers.
Okay. Next up, we have a rematch from the wild card round of the playoffs. It's the Eagles against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the Buccaneers looked really great in Week 1 against a horrible Commanders defense and a rookie in Jaden Daniels. Then they went to Detroit and got a win, and everybody was really high on the Buccaneers before they got blew up by the Broncos. Now, after a closer look, if you look back at that Lions game, you look, The Lions should have won that game. They should have no business losing it. They outgained uh, the Buccaneers by over 2-1. They blew their halftime possession. They blew a couple of possessions in the third and fourth quarter of that game. And the Buccaneers on offense really didn't play well. In fact, the offensive line of the Buccaneers hasn't really been playing well, minus Tristan Wirfs. Baker's kind of been running ragged. The Broncos don't have the most amazing pass rush, and they were all over him in that game last week. I think the interior pass rush of the Eagles, which is their strong point, is going to cause some issues for Baker. I think also the Eagles are learning that they need to lean more and more on Saquon Barkley in that run game. They're kind of figuring out the offense. Also, A.J. Brown may be coming back this week, and Devontae Smith is out. So I have the Eagles going to Tampa Bay and avenging their playoff loss from a year ago.
I also have the Eagles winning this game. I think their defense played very well last week against a pretty great Saints offense, and I think they can do that again this week. I think they can get some pressure on Baker Mayfield. I think they can cover their wide receivers. Quinyon Mitchell's been pretty good so far, and I think that is going to be a big part of the win for them. And their offense, I do think Saquon Barkley will make some plays for them, and I do think he will continue to have a great season for the Eagles. So I think the Buccaneers will lose again. I think we see the Buccaneers of last week. I think the Eagles should be able to win this game. So that's what I have.
Next, our Sunday night matchup, Buffalo heading to Baltimore. Baltimore bouncing back and with a win against Dallas. Almost blew that game, though, after having a big lead. Buffalo, on the other hand, dominating win over the Jags. Dominating win the week before of the Dolphins. Close win over the Cardinals in week 1. But the key is their offensive balance. To be able to run the ball really efficiently. And, the running game is not relied on Josh Allen. It's not just James Cook either. They're mixing in other backs. Obviously, Johnson is part of that as well. And also, they're throwing the ball. A lot of receivers are involved. They're very efficient on offense. The Ravens, on the other hand, I think they're leaning more on a Derrick Henry. That's what you signed, and the running game is starting to get going. But I don't really know how much I trust these defenses in this game. I think this game's going to be a little high scoring than we think. I think two quarterbacks are really going to play well. But I think the balance the Bills have on offense is what I'm going to lean on here. And I think, as much as I love Lamar, he has been great about building leads. He's not so great about holding leads. So I'm going to take maybe the Bills to win this in a close one in the fourth quarter. Give me Buffalo over Baltimore.
Yeah, I think this will be a close game. I was having a little trouble with this one. But I think the Ravens can pull this off. Although the Bills will be tricky to stop with their offense. I think the Ravens can do it, and I think that if Josh Allen doesn't have as great of a game that he had last week, the Ravens should be able to win this game. And if Buffalo and their defense can allow yardage, or allows a lot of yardage, I think the Ravens should be able to score. I think their run game will be consistent, and they'll be able to get down the field. And if they can stop the Bills from scoring and maximize on what they can get, I think they can win this game. I think it will be close, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Bills win this one. But I have home team taking it.
All right. Our last one is the Seahawks traveling to Detroit for the third time early in the year. This is the same match they've had 3 years in a row. The last 2 years, Seattle has gone in there and won both high-scoring affairs. Last year, a victory coming in overtime. The Seahawks were able to pull off the win over the Lions. I think this game's going to be really physical. I don't think it'll be as high-scoring as the last couple of years. Teams are a little more banged up. The Seahawks have some issues on offensive line. The Lions have some issues on offensive line as well. And, Sam Laporta's hurt. So, I think both teams defensively have also improved as a factor. I think Aiden Hutchinson, like Kean predicted, is having a defensive player of the year type of year. He's leading the league in sacks and pressures. And that's going to be a problem for the Seahawks. How they're going to deal with that. Also, the Seahawks defense with Mike McDonald is obviously improved. They're going to get a lot more pressure on the Lions. And if you remember, the Lions, when they went to Baltimore, when Mike McDonald was a defensive coordinator, suffered a brutal defeat against the Ravens. In fact, it was their worst defeat of the year last year. Obviously, that was different personnel, and that was a veteran Baltimore defense that had been under Mike McDonald for some time. So I'm not expecting the Seahawks to perform at that level quite yet. But what I do think is he has a good grasp on how to defend the Lions, and that's why I'm going to take the Seahawks or Lions to win another close one in Detroit for the third year in a row.
Yeah, I think the Lions will give a lot of challenge to the Seahawks, but I think the Seahawks can win this one. Their offense has been pretty good the last few weeks, mostly, and I think if they can continue that this week, if they can pass the ball efficiently against the Lions' pass defense that is still improving, I think that will be a big tool for the Seahawks to be able to win this one. Kenneth Walker also might be coming back, and that will be a big boost to their run game. I think Aiden Hutchinson might cause some trouble, but if you can maybe double team him a little more, I don't think there are other great threats in the Lions' pass rush. So I also think that the Seahawks defense can continue to play well, and they lead the league in pressures, I think. And if they can do that against Jared Goff,
I think they lead the league in pressure rate.
pressure rate.
It may be pressures as well, but I'm 100% sure about pressure rate.
Okay, well, something like that. Jared Goff makes some mistakes. I think the Seahawks can win this one. I think it will be close, but I think the Seahawks will beat the Lions again.
All right. Now for our quick hits, starting up with an NFC South battle. These teams hate each other. And it's two veteran quarterbacks coming off of tough defeats at home. But give me the Saints over the Falcons in another nail biter.
Yeah, the Saints crushed the Falcons. I think maybe the last week of the season, the last game of the season.
Okay.
Last season.
Okay.
And I think the Falcons can win this one. I am a little worried if the Saints offense gets back to what it was before last week. But I think the Falcons, I think if Kirk Cousins plays well, I think he should win this one.
Okay. Next up, Rams traveling to Chicago to face the Bears. And I really think that this one is going to come down to quarterback play. And I'm taking the old gun to show the new gun some tricks. Give me the Rams over the Bears.
Yeah, I think the Rams should be able to win this one. Although they have been injured the last few weeks, I think they beat the 49ers last week. I think they can beat the Bears.
Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers facing the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to take the best defense in the league to tear apart Mr. Anthony Richardson. Give me the Steelers over the Colts.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be very difficult for Anthony Richardson to win this game. And if Justin Fields continues to play well, I think the Steelers can outscore the Colts.
Next up, Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets face Bo Nix and the Broncos. Again, old dog versus a young pup. I'm going to take the old dog again. Give me the Jets over the Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos are happy from the last week's win, but the Jets, I think, are getting into the rhythm, and I think they should win this game.
Next, we have a revenge game for the Red Rifle as the Panthers face the Bengals. Will the Bengals finally get a win? Do they have to play the worst team in the league? Maybe. Well, after the way the Panthers played last week, you wouldn't call them the worst team in the league. But either way, I think the Bengals finally get it together and finally get a W in the column.
Yeah, the Panthers offense was great last week, but can they continue that this week? I don't know. I think the Cincinnati is going to be able to win this game. I think they'll be able to score against the Panthers defense, so I have them winning.
Next up, we have an AFC South matchup between the Texans and the Jaguars. Jaguars are bad. B-A-D, bad. Doug Peterson could be first coach fired. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, I think Texans will play well this week, and I don't think the Jaguars' defense will cause problems for them. I think they will be able to be productive and efficient, so I have them winning.
Next up, we have a game of awesome mobile quarterbacks and not a lot of defense to be played. I'm expecting high scores in this game, which means the Cardinals will beat the Commanders 6-3.
I'm going with Jane Daniels to have another great week against the Cardinals defense. So I think they will be able to get the higher score and score in more drives.
Next up, we have the 49ers facing New England Patriots. I know the Patriots had extra time to prepare. They probably didn't want to watch any more of that game film against the Jets, and it's not going to help them against the 49ers as they lose to the Niners.
Yeah, I think the 49ers will not blow this one. I think they should easily blow out the Patriots.
And next up, we have our worst game of the week, and that's the Raiders and the Browns. Just don't watch this game. Don't watch it. Pretend it didn't happen. Just ignore it. And I'll take the Raiders because of the home team.
Yeah, I also have the Raiders winning. I think their offense will do well, and the Browns' defense wasn't the best against the Giants last week, so I think the Raiders will win.
Next up, we got an AFC West matchup between the Chiefs and the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chiefs. They're going to win another one in a nail biter. I wish that Justin Herbert was 100% healthy. It would be really cool to see this, but also the Chargers are having issues on their offensive line. So, give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think Chiefs are one of the best teams in the league. Although they've had some close games, they've won them. So I think Kansas City should win the divisional matchup.
Last game, Titans and Dolphins meet on Monday night. I'm not sure anybody will watch this game except for in Miami and in Tennessee. Well, wait, no one in Miami watches sports. I'm going to guess that if you took Will Levis against random quarterback, because we have no idea who's going to play quarterback for Miami. It could be some guy named Carlos off the street. I'm going to guess you'd probably take Carlos. Either way, Will Levis doesn't need to win this game. Titans run the ball. They play enough defense. I got the Titans beating Miami.
I think the Dolphins will have a better run game this week, and I think that's the only way they can win, and I think that's what will happen.
Awesome. All right, those are our picks for this week's games. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.